Did you know overweight does not necessarily mean unhealthy? There are actually plenty of overweight people who are in pretty good health. Conversely, many normal weight people have the metabolic problems associated with obesity. That's because the fat under the skin is actually not that big of a problem, at least not from a health standpoint. It's more of a cosmetic problem. It's the fat in the abdominal cavity, the belly fat, that causes the biggest issues. If you have a lot of excess fat around your waistline, even if you're not very heavy, then you should definitely take some steps to get rid of it. Belly fat is usually estimated by measuring the circumference around your waist. This can easily be done at home with the simple tape measure. Anything above 40 inches in men and 35 inches in women is known as abdominal obesity. There are actually proven strategies that have been shown to target the fat in the belly area more than any other areas in the body. Let's get right into 6 ways to lose belly fat. Number 1, this one's pretty obvious. You've heard it 100 times. Don't eat sugar and avoid sugar-sweetened drinks. Added sugar, specifically high fructose corn syrup, is very unhealthy. Studies show that has uniquely harmful effects on your metabolic health. Sugar is half glucose, half fructose, and fructose can only be metabolized by the liver in any significant amount. When you eat a lot of refined sugar, the liver gets overloaded with fructose and it's forced to turn it into fat. Numerous studies have shown that excess sugar, mostly due to large amounts of fructose, can lead to an increased accumulation of fat in the belly. Some believe that this is a primary mechanism behind sugar's harmful effects on health. It increases belly fat and liver fat, which leads to insulin resistance and a host of metabolic problems. If you're overweight by at least 15 to 20 pounds, you probably have some form of insulin resistance, and that should be the first hormonal focus when you're starting any diet or weight loss program or plan. And liquid sugar is even worse in this regard. Liquid calories don't get registered by the brain in the same way as solid calories. So when you drink sugar-sweetened beverages, you end up eating more total calories. Studies show that sugar-sweetened beverages are linked to 60% increased risk of obesity in children per each daily serving. Make a decision to minimize the amount of sugar in your diet and consider completely eliminating sugary drinks. This includes sugar-sweetened beverages like fruit juices and various high-sugar sports drinks. Keep in mind that none of this applies to whole fruit, which is extremely healthy and has plenty of fiber that mitigates the negative effects of fructose. The amount of fructose you get from fruit is negligible compared to what you get from a diet high in refined sugar and sugary drinks. If you want to cut back on refined sugar, then you must start reading labels. Even foods marketed as health foods can contain large amounts of sugar. So bottom line with this one, excess sugar consumption may be the primary driver of belly fat accumulation, especially sugary beverages like soft drinks. Number 2, we want to eat more protein. It's a great long-term strategy to reduce belly fat. Protein should be your primary focus when you're starting your meal. It's the most important macronutrient when it comes to losing weight. It has been shown to reduce cravings by 60%, boost metabolic rate by 80 to 100 calories per day, and it helps you eat about 441 fewer calories per day. If weight loss is your goal, then adding protein is perhaps the single most effective change you can do to your diet. Not only will it help you lose, but it can also help you avoid regaining weight if you ever decide to abandon your weight loss efforts. There's also some evidence that protein is particularly effective against belly fat. One study showed that the amount of quality protein consumed was inversely related to fat in the belly. That is, people who ate more and better quality protein had much less belly fat. It's pretty straightforward. Another study in Denmark showed that protein was linked to significantly reduced risk of belly fat gain over a period of 5 years. This study also showed that refined carbs and oils were linked to increased amounts of belly fat, but fruits and vegetables linked to reduced amounts. What do you know? Whole food diet wins again. Many of the studies showing protein to be effective had protein at 25 to 30% of your total calories, which is what you should aim for. I teach a 33-33-33 method, protein, fats, and carbs, so that lines up perfectly. So you definitely want to make an effort to increase your intake of high quality, high protein foods such as whole eggs, wild caught fish and seafood, legumes, nuts, meat, ideally grass-fed organic, dairy products, ideally organic, and some whole grains. I am a fan of just the gluten-free grains, but a gluten-full grain every now and then is not going to hurt you. These are the best protein sources in the diet. If you struggle with getting enough protein in your diet, then a quality protein supplement like grass-fed whey or collagen is a healthy and convenient way to boost your intake. Throw some in your morning coffee, do a quick little protein shake or something like that, and that's a great way to boost that protein intake. If you're vegetarian or vegan, then you definitely want to explore protein sources that are the least inflammatory, and most likely you're definitely going to need a supplement. You want to go for a hemp-based or pea-based type of protein. Try to avoid the soy as much as possible. Bonus tip, consider cooking your foods in coconut oil. Some studies have shown that 30 milliliters, about 2 tablespoons of coconut oil per day, reduces belly fat slightly. So cook that meat in coconut oil. Bottom line with this one, eating enough protein is a very effective way to lose weight. Some studies suggest that protein is very effective against belly fat accumulation. Getting enough protein is not easy for many people, especially women, and especially if you're cutting calories. So make sure that protein is at the top of mind. Next, we want to cut carbs from your diet. Carb restriction is a very effective way to lose fat, but carb cycling is even more effective, and it's more sustainable and enjoyable. This is supported by numerous studies. When people cut carbs, their appetite goes down and they lose weight. Over 20 randomized controlled trials have now shown that low-carb diets lead to 2 to 3 times more weight loss than low-fat diets. This is true even when the low-carb groups are allowed to eat as much as they want, while the low-fat groups are calorie restricted and always hungry. Low-carb diets also lead to quick reductions in water weight, which gives people instant results and instant motivation. A major difference on the scale is often seen within a few short days of going on a carb cleansing type of carb cycling type of diet. There are also studies comparing low carb and low fat diets showing that low carb diets specifically target the fat in the belly and around the organs and the liver, which is super important because when you can reduce that liver overload, then you'll release more of the stored glycogen and eventually you'll get rid of that stored body fat. What this means is it's that a particularly high portion of the fat loss on a low carb diet is a dangerous and disease promoting abdominal fat. That's super important. Just avoiding the refined carbs like white breads, pastas, and things like that should be sufficient enough, especially if you keep your protein high and you're eating high quality fats. However, if you need to lose weight really fast, then consider dropping your carbs down to 50 grams or less per day. This will put your body into what is known as ketosis, killing your appetite and making your body start burning fat as its primary fuel source. Of course, low-carb diets have many other health benefits besides just weight loss. They can have life-saving effects for type 2 diabetics. Bottom line with this one, studies show that low-carb diets are particularly effective at getting rid of the fat in the belly area and around the organs and, most importantly, the liver, one of your best fat-burning organs. One quick warning here, many problems can arise if you restrict carbs for too long, especially if you're over 40 and have a long dieting past. The solution is to follow a carb cycling macro balancing approach. This way you can avoid over-restriction, which leads to a lower damage metabolism. Not to mention, avoiding carbs can get tricky in family, social, and life situations. You don't have to avoid carbs like the plague. Thousands of my students and readers and people who have purchased my program, I've sold over 20,000 copies of my metabolism diet, which incorporates what I call metabolic cycling or carb cycling. They love that they can still eat their favorite carbs like pizza, alcohol, and foods like that and still see weight loss results. Number 4 on the list to get rid of that belly fat. We want to eat foods rich in fiber, especially viscous fiber. Dietary fiber is the mostly indigestible plant matter. It is often claimed that eating plenty of fiber can help with weight loss. This is true because it's important to keep in mind not all fiber is created equal. It seems to be mostly the soluble and viscous fibers that have an effect on your weight. These fibers are that bind water and form a thick gel that sits in the gut. This gel can dramatically slow the movement of food through your stomach and small bowel and slow the digestion and absorption of nutrients. The end result is a prolonged feeling of fullness and reduced appetite. One review study found that an additional 14 grams of fiber per day was linked to 10% decrease in overall calorie intake and a weight loss increase of 4 to 5 pounds over 4 months. In another 5-year study, eating 10 grams of soluble fiber per day was linked to a 3.7 reduction in the amount of overall fat in the abdominal cavity, but it had no effect on the fat around the skin. What this implies is that soluble fiber may be particularly effective at reducing the harmful belly fat that I've discussed early on in this video. The best way to get more fiber is to eat a lot of plant foods like vegetables and fruits. Legumes are also a pretty good source, as well as oats. Then you could try taking a fiber supplement like glucomannan if getting fiber is difficult for you in the form of whole foods. The glucomannan is one of the most viscous dietary fibers in existence and has been shown in many studies to aid in weight loss. The bottom line with this one, there's plenty of evidence that soluble dietary fiber may lead to reduced amounts of belly fat, which could cause major improvements in your overall metabolic health. Speaking of metabolism, metabolic exercise is very effective at reducing belly fat. Exercise is important for various reasons. It is among the best things you can do if you want to live a long, healthy life and avoid disease. Getting into all the amazing health benefits of exercise is beyond the scope of this video, but exercise does appear to be effective at reducing belly fat over multiple thousands of studies. However, keep in mind that I'm not talking about abdominal exercises here. Spot reduction or losing fat in one spot is not possible and is a myth. And doing endless amounts of crunches will not make you lose fat around your belly. In one study, 6 weeks of training, just the abdominal muscles had no measurable effect on waist circumference or the amount of fat in the abdominal cavity. When I first started my career in the health and nutrition space, I was a personal trainer. I've coached tens of thousands of metabolic workouts, and it was a question that I got so many times. In fact, the opposite happens when you just focus on training your core. You build muscle and your muscle pushes out your fat and whatever else is there, and so you actually get the opposite effect. Plus, your ab muscles and your core muscles, while they're great to work, are really small, so they don't have a lot of metabolically active tissue like legs, back, etc. With all that being said, other types of exercise can be very effective. Metabolic exercise, however, like bodyweight training, short bursts of exercise, running, sprinting, swimming, have been shown to cause major reductions in belly fat in numerous studies. Another study found that exercise completely prevented people from regaining abdominal fat after weight loss, implying that exercise is particularly important during weight maintenance. Exercise also leads to reduced inflammation, blood sugar levels, and all other metabolic abnormalities that are associated with obesity. Bottom line with this one, exercise can be very effective if you're trying to lose belly fat. Exercise also has a number of health benefits. Most people follow either a no exercise or exercise more approach. This is terribly wrong and can be disastrous to your weight loss efforts. Subscribe to this channel. I have about 100 metabolic workout videos where I'm act as a trainer and I'm coaching somebody else. They're anywhere from 10 to 25 minutes and they burn tons of calories during the workout, but more importantly, they have what's known as the afterburn effect, meaning they are burning calories throughout the entire day. And these exercises are also great for, these workouts are great for building lean muscle tissue, which is metabolically active. Muscle tissue is the tissue that burns excess fat in your body the fastest and most efficiently. And number 6 here, we want to track your foods and figure out exactly what and how much you are eating. Now, before I scare you off here, what you eat is important. Pretty much everyone knows this. However, surprisingly, most people actually don't have a clue what they're really eating. I remember having clients keep a food log, and from asking them over the phone, it was much different than when they're actually tracking their food, and they were amazed to see what they're actually eating. And then when I showed them the ingredient labels and how many calories they were eating, they were even more blown away. Some people think that they're actually eating high protein, low carb, or whatever else, but tend to drastically over or underestimate. I think that for anyone who truly wants to optimize their diet, tracking things for a period of time is absolutely essential. It doesn't mean you need to weigh and measure everything for the rest of your life, but doing it every now and then for a few days in a row can help you realize where you need to make changes. If you want to boost your protein intake to 25 to 30% of your calories, as I recommend, just eating more protein-rich foods sometimes won't cut it. You need to actually measure and fine-tune in order to reach that goal. I recommend using just like a random calorie counter temporarily just to get yourself acquainted with how many calories are in the foods that you're eating. You don't have to count or track calories, but if it works for you, I would recommend giving it a shot. So what do people who aren't overweight know that you don't? It seems like if you're always the one struggling to lose weight, it's because other people are doing something that you aren't. They know something that you don't know. Stay ahead of the pack by taking action on a hormone balancing, metabolism focused approach to eating and weight loss. If you're tired of making the same mistakes over and over again and having the weight that you do lose just come back with the vengeance, try something new and start your healthy fat loss journey today. I don't have anything to sell you right now, but I would love to send you my 24-hour metabolism reset that's been downloaded over 10,000 times. And I also have a 4-week meal plan to send you for absolutely free, and 10 of my favorite hormone balancing drinks that you can make at home and drink in the morning or in the evening for just to just support your healthy hormones and metabolism. I appreciate you watching. Just click the link in the first comment or description and tell me where to send it. I appreciate you watching this video. I'll see you next time.